Good afternoon, everybody. You're all very welcome to a resplendent, bright and shiny Dr. Hyde Park in Roscommon for the first of this year's Hudson Bay Hotel County Senior Football Championship semi-finals between near neighbours St. Brigids and Pádraig Pearses. On what's a resplendent day for football, both teams, as you can see, is out on the field at the moment warming up. This, of course, is a replay of last year's county final. When St. Brigids overcame Pádraig Pearses on a scoreline of 111 to 8 points. This, of course, is brought to you by Ross GA. This is a bumper weekend for football, this being the first of the two county senior football championship semi-finals. The second one is here tomorrow between Clonagale and Roscommon Gales, kicking off at 4 o'clock here in Dr. Hyde Park tomorrow. Already today we've had the first of the county intermediate, the Mulrine Construction Intermediate Football Championship semi-finals played here earlier today between St. Dominic's and Clonagale B, which resulted in a good win for St. Dominic's. So St. Dominic's have booked their place in this year's Intermediate Football Championship semi-final. The winners to play St. Folia's, the winners of St. Folia's and Castlereagh, who play here tomorrow, as I said earlier, at 1:30. Meanwhile, today, both these teams looking to book their place in the county senior football final. As it says, both returning this year, hoping to get back into their second final in a row. Having played, as I said earlier, last year, actually played on the 20th of September last year. Brigids played Pearses in the county final, Brigids winning by 111 to 8 points. As I said, a bumper weekend of football also. Another score we have from earlier on, a result from earlier. Roscommon Gales beat Aero Michael Davies in the minor semi-final earlier today in Beacon. Both managers hoping to have been playing from strong hands today. Benny O'Brien for Pádraig Pearses and Pat Flanagan, or Benny O'Brien for Brigids and Pat Flanagan for Pádraig Pearses. A couple of changes on the teams that we just heard about. 3 changes for St. Brigids and 1 for Pádraig Pearses. For St. Brigids from the last day, out goes John Cunningham, Peter Domican, who is suffering from an injury, and Kieran Sugru. And into their place comes Sean Trundle, ex-county star Niall McInerney, and the experienced Garage Cunniff. For Pádraig Pearses, Emmett Kelly is out from the last day, and he's replaced by county under-20 star Conor Lohan. So just a quick run through the two teams as they line out. For St. Brigids, James Martin is in goal. Right corner back now wearing number 20 is Sean Trundle. Niall McInerney wearing number 24 is full back, and the experienced Dara Sheehy is at number 4. Ronan Stack anchors the back line at number 6 with Alan Daly one side at number 5, and the brilliant Paul McGrath at number 7. Strong midfield pairing of county star Brian Stack at number 8, and last week's man of the match in the quarter-final, Eddie Nolan, wearing number 9. The returning Shane Cunyan gets another 60 game under his belt this week. He's lining out at number 10. Conor Gleeson leads the attack from 11, and county under-20 star Robbie Dolan plays at 12. And then the full forward line, which had been fairly constant up to today. Ben O'Carroll wears number 13, Brian Derwin wears number 14, and now Garage Cunniff comes in place of Kieran Sugru, Cunniff wearing number 17. For Pádraig Pearses, Paul Whelan retains his place in goal. And an experienced full back line of Mark Richardson at number 2, Anthony Butler at 3, and Gavin Downey is at 4. One of the Dailies, Ronan, anchors at number 6, Shane Carty at 5, and captain and county star David Murray is at 7. 2 Daly brothers at midfield, Niall is number 8 and Conor is number 9, and youngest brother Lorcan then is at number 10. Niall Carty, ex-county star, leads the attack from 11, and Conor Payne is at 12. Conor Lohan, wearing number 19, comes in at 13 in place of Emmett Kelly. Hubert Darcy is at 14, and the high-scoring Paul Carey plays at number 15. Brigids are captain from centre back by Ronan Stack, and Pearses are captain from number 7 by David Murray. So, as I said, we're looking forward to an intriguing close clash here between the closest of neighbours. These teams have become very used to each other in Roscommon Championships of late. As I said, they played in last year's county final. They've also played in the county finals of 2005, 12, 16 and indeed 20, and in them last 4 county finals, Brigids have come out on top. Brigids, of course, have won 17 county titles. Pearses have won their sole county title, which they won in 2019, or Pearses have. That Pearses team that won that title in 19, beating Roscommon Gales in the final, and went forward from there to beat the Sligo champions and the London champions, and unfortunately lost out narrowly to Corofin, the powerhouse of Corofin, in the Connacht final that year. Last year, Brigids won the championship, but as we know, due to the pandemic, there was no Connacht championship last year. Today's referee is Brendan Healy. Brendan from the St. Paulius Club, a highly experienced referee. Brendan takes charge of the game today. So both these teams will be hoping to get over the hump of what is today's county semi-final to face either Clonegale or Roscommon Gaels in the county final. As I said, they were the four teams involved, Clonegale, Pearses, Brigids and Roscommon Gaels, were supposed to be regarded over the last number of years as the top four in Roscommon. And I think, looking geographically, the power of football in Roscommon has been very much to the south in the last couple of decades, and looking at the teams that's here today and tomorrow, that looks like a situation that's not going to change. So meanwhile, we're getting ready here. It's our Ron Naveen. So the scene is set for what should be an intriguing game of football on what is a perfect day for football. There's a slight breeze blowing from left to right from the town end into the graveyard end. Meanwhile, on behalf of RosGA, we'd like to welcome all our viewers here today from locally in Roscommon and from indeed all around the world, from England and America and Australia, and everybody that's looking, and for everybody that's joining with us today, you're all very welcome. What better way to spend a Sunday afternoon than watching top-class inter-club competition going on in your county. So for all Brigids and Pearses expats, you're all very welcome to our coverage here today, brought to us by RosGA and with Mike here on our camera and producing for us. We hope that you enjoy the fair we have today. So as I said, the scene is set for what should be an intriguing game of football in near perfect conditions, so unusual for the month of October, but we'll take anything that's going weather-wise. So, Brendan Healy gets ready to start, the ball is thrown in and the game is on, and straight away the ball is won by Niall Daly in the middle of the field. Niall looks to see, can he get Pearses off to a start, straight into Hubert Darcy. Hubert out in front, that's laid off perfectly, that's a great ball laid off to the right to Shane Carty, and Shane Carty, attacking up from the back, has scored the first point of the game after 10 seconds of the game. Shane Carty, that was a lightning attack won by Niall Daly, played into Hubert Darcy at full forward. Hubert won the ball out in front, and coming attacking from the back, Shane Carty kicks the first point of the game. A great start for Pádraig Pearses. Now, James Merton puts that ball long out the field, and it's won on the far side. It's with Robbie Dolan. Now Robbie looks up to give it into the middle, and that ball comes in here to number 7, to Paul McGrath. Paul now plays it over this side of the field to Ronan Stack, and the ball is played forward to his brother Brian. Now Brian Stack. Brian attacking up along the right hand side, looking to see what's available. Gleeson has gone inside him, but still Brian Stack, shepherded by Niall Daly. Stack turns and puts the ball back out the field to Shane Cunyan. Shane now to Garage Cunniff into the middle, and back with Garage Cunniff again. So Brigids are prepared to be patient. Pearses have dropped a lot of players back. Meanwhile, Alan Daly gives it out the far side to Paul McGrath. Paul McGrath now to Brian Derwin, who's come a long way from the full forward line. Brian Derwin turns back inside but slips and that's well covered by Pearses, picked up by Anthony Butler, and Pearses turn it over. Now Niall Carty playing very deep. Niall up to the youngest of the Dalys, Lorcan Daly. Lorcan now attacks up the right hand side. Meanwhile, Brendan Healy has blown the whistle. He's seen a foul inside somewhere, so he's putting his mark down pretty early on the game. He's walking in, he saw a pull, I think it was on Paul Carey. Back there, it looks like it might have been on Paul Carey. And I think that was probably by, I'm not sure, was it Sean Trundle back there? In this game to Brigids, and they've shown their intent from early on. Meanwhile, Brigids looking to settle into the game. Probably could do with getting a score. 6.5 minutes gone in the game. The ball is kicked out, goes long to the middle of the field. Eddie Nolan, well taken, but doesn't hold on to it, and it's picked up by Davy Murray. Now Davy sets sail again from the middle of the field. Gives it to Niall Carty, been very involved. Back to Davy Murray, back to Lorcan Daly. Lorcan into the middle, and this ball is with Conor Lohan. Conor, the under 20, up the field. Conor with his right foot from 25 yards out is dropping, and drops over the bar. Oh, that's a great point. Great point from Conor Lohan. From all of 30 yards out, the young Conor Lohan, who would be a defender, but has come up the field and has showed his prowess and the confidence gained from playing with the Roscommon under-20s this year to swing over a lovely point, dropping just on the net for Pearses' 4th point of the game. So, lightning start for Pádraig Pearses here. Meanwhile, James Merton in the Brigids goal is looking, and he goes long, puts that ball out to the far side where Shane Cunyan finds it in space. Shane Cunyan, good to see him back after a long time out through injury. The cadet back into the middle to Conor Gleeson. Now Gleeson over to McInerney, Niall McInerney to Paul McGrath. Great speed shown by McGrath coming up the middle, very dangerous. Now inside, this ball is with Brian Derwin. Brian Derwin wins it ahead of Anthony Butler. Now Brian Derwin attacking up the left. Chance here for Brigids, gives it to Ben O'Carroll. Ben out looking, scrapping for possession and space. Now back out. That ball has gone back outside to Derwin. Played the whole way back out to Shane Cunyan. He looks across. Now he goes long. This ball comes in along to Robbie Dolan. Robbie Dolan, the county under-20 star, tries to give it inside. Luckily it works out for him. That ball is with Ben O'Carroll, but there's no space in there. But now Ronan Stack tries to make space. Ben O'Carroll again. They're being pushed out to the side. Ben O'Carroll passes it to himself. Takes on Niall Carty. Wins that race easily enough. Back out now to Robbie Dolan. Brigids are trying to find a gap here, back across the field. Niall McInerney way up the field, but Pearses have put a wall across there, and they're saying to Brigids, come and get through us. Eddie Nolan, now out to Paul McGrath. Paul McGrath attacking back into Nolan. Great run by Nolan, but that's well read there by Anthony Butler, who saw that coming a long way away and cuts the ball out, and Pearses turns it over. Back in that corner with Conor Daly, the experienced Conor Daly now. Back inside again, and this is with Shane Carty. Shane, scorer of the first point. Now Shane comes out the field and gives it out to Mark Richardson, and Pearses build it from the back. Conor Daly again. Pearses have started this game looking like they're showing every intention that they want to get back to a county final again. This is Conor Daly. Conor looks to see what's available. Brigids streaming to get men back, but the ball comes out this side of the field to Lorcan Daly, the youngest, and Lorcan back to Ronan Daly. Ronan back inside, that ball is played in there to Conor. Conor gives it out to the side to this like Conor Payne with a left foot. Oh, and that's a great score. Hubert Darcy with his left foot. Hubert Darcy kicking his 2nd point of the game. And this is great football by Pearses, I have to say. Superb football. They turned that ball over back in their own cornerback position through Anthony Butler. They worked it through the hands the whole way up the field. They supported the play, found their man, and Hubert Darcy, whose form has really improved as the year has gone on, has become more and more potent for Pearses. Hubert kicks his 2nd point of the game with his left foot, a really good score, and puts Pearses now 5 points to no score up 10 minutes into the game. It's been a lightning start for Pearses. Meanwhile, there's an injury down the other end. I think it might be Ben O'Carroll after that last attack. I'm trying to see who it is down there. It's not. It is... I'm trying to see who that is down there that seems to be is just nursing us and walking very gingerly. It could be Eddie Nolan maybe, I'm not sure, or Conor Gleeson, but we'll wait and see in a few minutes. Meanwhile, we're back with the play. So James Merton, now he's got to be inventive. He goes short. This ball is to Paul McGrath. McGrath is one of these players that's ever ready waiting to take the ball. They attack up the middle with Brian Stack. Now Brian, what can he do? He goes out wide again, out the far side of the field to Ronan Stack. Now here's Robbie Dolan. Robbie, what can he do with the ball? Turns inside his man and he's run a goal. Robbie Dolan, this is a good break by him now. Robbie Dolan with his right foot. Robbie curls the ball in high and high, but unfortunately across the face of the goal and wide for Brigids' 2nd wide of the game. But he was under pressure from Conor Lohan there as he was kicking that ball. And Pearses have set up really well here in this game. Defensively good, but they showed that they're not afraid to attack. They've gone with the short kick out. So the ball is the far side of the field, and now it comes back into the middle to Mark Richardson. Mark, who's been a stalwart for this Pearses defence for the last couple of years. Right over this side to Ronan Daly. So Ronan, lots of space in front of him, looking to see what options he has up front. He gives it to his brother Niall. Niall on the far side, conductor of the orchestra. Back to Ronan. Now Ronan looks to the centre. He's faced up there by Conor Gleeson, but gives it back by Brian Stack, but gives it to Niall. Now to Conor. Conor Daly cutting through the middle. Tackled by Stack, fouled by Stack. So Pearses have shown that they're not afraid to attack. gives it to Niall Daly. Niall now inside. This is good football. Back to Conor Lohan. Back to Niall Carty. Niall Carty here out this side of the field, and the ball is given in, but that's cut off, but it's broken loose. Chance here. That ball is falling. Oh, well, one whack there by Ronan Stack. There was a great chance there for Pearses. The ball broke and it could have gone anywhere, but in fairness to Ronan Stack, he got back and picked up that loose ball. But it shows that Pearses aren't afraid to attack from any time they get a chance. Meanwhile, Dara Sheehy now goes long down the field, but that goes over the head of Conor Gleeson and the whole way back to Ronan Daly. Pearses look like they have it all sewed up back here. It's making it very difficult for Brigids to build any sort of attack. Meanwhile, ball goes in again to Darcy. Darcy has started well now, lays it off quickly over the far side to Gavin Downey, who was supporting up that side. Back out to Darcy. Darcy turns inside, outside, inside. This is Hubert Darcy again, flicks it inside. Lorcan Daly looks around. Okay, so he's not to come back out the field. That ball comes the whole way back out the field to Shane Carty. Shane comes back out again to Ronan Daly, and Pearses recycle. Back over to Niall. Now, Pearses are content to be patient, wait for the chance, and when it comes, they've, in fairness, they've been taking them. Niall, back out the far side. Now, they're looking to attack from that far side. The ball is with Shane Carty. He's looking to see or with Ronan Daly, looking to see who's available. Ronan holds, back to Niall. These guys will hold it all day until they get the opening. Niall probes to Shane Carty, back to Niall Daly. Meanwhile, Brigids have funneled all but two of their players back behind the ball. Ball is inside there now, and it is with Conor Lohan. Conor Lohan is scrapping for that ball. I see Gavin Downey is in there as well. And meanwhile, Brendan Healy says the ball was handled on the ground. So a reprieve for Brigids. Brigids needs to get up the field. They need to get a score. So that ball goes long to Brian Derwin and Anthony Butler. Derwin wins this in front. Derwin has been excellent all year for Brigids as a target man. But he's shepherded by Anthony Butler, but Derwin still has it now. Turns out to see who's available. Ball is played back outside and it comes out here to Brian Stack. Brian, county captain. Brian looks across the field. Gives it to Alan Daly, who's joining the attack now. Now, Pearses has got their men back. So the ball is with Eddie Nolan. Eddie to Shane Cungan. Shane, 50 yards out. Shane thinks about a shot, but thinks differently. Back out to Brian Stack, and they're prepared to wait for the opening. Eddie Nolan. Now Eddie turns inside. What's available? Will he make a run? No, he gives it to Ben O'Carroll. Ben has come out searching, scavenging for that ball. Back out to Garage Cunniff. Garage back out to Shane Cungan, and Pearses has a wall up. They're going to make it difficult. Ball goes across the field. It'll take all the guile of Brigids to break down this defence. Ball goes in long. That's well won out there again by Brian Derwin. Brian Derwin has started this game really well. Brian puts it back out to Paul McGrath. Always available, or Robbie Dolan, sorry. Robbie always available to take a pass to Brian Stack. But Pearses aren't going to make it easy. Ball across the field. Now Ronan Stack. Ronan says, right, I'm going to have a go at this. Ball inside to Cungan. Cungan turns. Doesn't know where to give it, doesn't have anyone to give it, has to come back out the field to Brian Stack. So Pearses, or Brigids are trying everything to break down this defence, but Pearses are well organised, well positioned. Over this side, Paul McGrath. They're trying over and back now through the middle. Quick ball, back to McGrath again. McGrath has the speed to break through this defence. Goes over to the far side of the field. Turns inside. Here's Brigids again. Ball inside. McGrath has found a bit of space. Paul McGrath. He's 21 yards. Paul McGrath takes a shot. Oh, what a goal! What a goal by Paul McGrath out of absolutely nothing. There was interplay for Brigids. They were waiting. Pearses had the wall up, but they stood off a little bit. Paul McGrath made a thrust through the middle, got the ball played to him, looked up, and from absolutely nothing hit a screamer of a shot into the top right-hand corner to bring Brigids right back into this game. So after 16 minutes of the game, it's now 5 points to 1 goal. But that was a super goal there by Paul McGrath. Now, we have a game. So Pearses now are going to try and build from the back again. We'll see, has that broken the momentum a little bit? They look to be watertight, but Paul McGrath found a gap through the middle of the defence and took his chance. Meanwhile, now here comes Mark Richardson. Mark comes up along this side. This is to Conor Payne, gets there first. And he is tackled by Sean Trundle and fouled by Sean Trundle. The Brigids supporters don't agree, but meanwhile the free is taken quickly to Conor Daly for Conor Payne, but that's picked up by Paul McGrath. He's down back defending now. So McGrath, fouled there by Conor Daly. So McGrath has really steadied Brigids down with this here now. Meanwhile, the linesman is calling over Brendan Healy. Conor Daly might have been disputing that ball for a few minutes there with Paul McGrath, but I don't know, is it anything to, he's the linesman is having a word with him, but that was a superb goal by Paul McGrath. as I said, ghosted into an opening, a slight hole in the middle of the defence, the Pearses defence, and took his chance and flashed it into the top corner. And it just shows you just how dangerous this Brigids team can be. Of course, they are county champions, and they did show it there. Meanwhile, back to that last tussle there, and he's calling over Conor Daly, and Brendan Healy has given a straight red card to Conor Daly. So, a huge turning point in the game. I saw it, Paul McGrath won the ball. Conor Daly was trying to pull the ball from him. I think he might indicate that Conor, in the process of trying to pull the ball from him, he might have struck him, but Paul McGrath didn't go down or anything. And to be brutally honest with you, in this commentator's view, it looked pretty harmless, but between the linesman and Brendan Healy, they deigned that it was a red card, and so now we have a very changed game. Pearse is now down to 14 men, 18 minutes into the first half, and that could prove to be a huge turning point. Meanwhile, Brigids, in their efforts to come out, have fouled the ball, and it is a free for Pádraig Pearses. So, in the last 4 minutes, this game has completely turned on its head. What looked like to be a very good start for Pádraig Pearses, which it was. Meanwhile, that free is out for Brigids. But what looked like to be a great start for Pádraig Pearses in the last 3 minutes has been turned on its head with a goal by Paul McGrath and the sending off of Conor Daly. Now, meanwhile, Brigids attack now up the middle. There's Niall McInerney, goes high inside for Ben O'Carroll, but it might be too high, and that ball runs out over the end line and wide for St. Brigids, third wide of the game. So now Pearses has to have a rethink here. They need to reset. They're now down a man. Brigids seems to be employing that loose man at the back. It seems to be Niall McInerney at the moment, so it's going to make it a bit more difficult. It's actually Ronan Stack, and a dangerous man to have loose in the middle of the field. Meanwhile, the kick out comes high from Whelan. Oh, that's expertly won over there by Robbie Dolan. Robbie, who wouldn't be the tallest man on the field, fetches that ball superbly into the middle of Shane Cunyan. Cunyan now to Ronan Stack. This is the loose man. Ronan breaks the tackle up the field. Now gives it to Eddie Nolan. Eddie marauding through the middle. Eddie Nolan, chance here. Gives that ball outside, but it's cut off there by Gavin Downey, and Pearses have survived that attack. Ball is with Niall Daly, and Niall is fouled coming out with the ball. So Brigids now are beginning to show bare their teeth and show what they're capable of doing. But that was well dealt with Pearses. But I'd be afraid, from Pearses' point of view, there's going to be a lot more of those onslaughts as the game goes on. Meanwhile, Ronan Daly attacks down, or Lorcan Daly attacks down this side, turns back in, and now it's getting a bit silly down there. Lorcan Daly was coming out with the ball. He was confronted by Paul McGrath. And it was just at the point on the sideline where both sidelines are close by. So there's a bit of pushing and shoving. Lorcan Daly is on the ground. Pearses are pointing to Paul McGrath. Again, no more than the last incident. I don't know was there a whole lot in it, but we'll have to see now what happens. Meanwhile, Lorcan Daly is on the ground. Paul McGrath may have just struck out a little bit there, but I don't know how serious it was. But Lorcan Daly is down holding his head. Physio Jenny Downey is with him. Meanwhile, Brendan Healy is speaking to his linesman to see what's going to happen. He's looking around to see who they've identified somebody. So there was a flashpoint in this game. He is calling over. He's calling over. It looks like Mark Richardson, is it? He's calling over. Brian Stack is being called over. Brian Stack and Mark Richardson are being called over. He's speaking to both them. Niall Daly has something to offer, but he's telling them to go away. So it's all a bit complicated. Meanwhile, Ronan Daly looks like he's going, or Lorcan Daly looks like he's going to be okay. Niall Daly is after getting a yellow card for, well, I suppose it is for pushing his opinion a bit, but meanwhile, a straight red card for Brian Stack. Now, so Brian Stack has been given a straight red card by Brendan Healy. I would assume it would be that he was third man in. That's the only thing that this commentator can see as being the reason for that sending off. If I'm being brutally honest, there's been two sending offs in this game, and I'm not sure that either of the two of them were necessary. Meanwhile, Pat Flanagan is showing his disgust to the referee, and he's been asked to step outside the pitch, so he's moved outside the gate. And Meanwhile, we're at a stalemate. So we've been 3 minutes now down in this area with what is the upshot of it all is that Brigids have lost their influential midfielder Brian Stack, and at the end of it all, Brendan Healy calls the water break. So 22 minutes into the game, with the score standing at 5 points to Pearses, Brigids 1 goal, but both teams down to 14 men due to the rather mysterious sendings off of both Conor Daly and Brian Stack. Conor for Pearses and Brian Stack for Brigids. So we're down to 14 men apiece. So there's been a couple of flash points, which was indeed a pity because it did look like it was shaping into a pretty good game of football. But we're back to level teams at the moment, 14 points each. After what was a lightning start by Pádraig Pearses, they really got into their stride early in this game, and with points by Shane Carty, by Hubert Darcy 2, by Paul Carey a free, and by Conor Lohan, they went 5 points to no score up. But then, when they seemed to be holding fairly comfortably, Brigids attacked, they held, Pearses put up the wall, they waited patiently, and McGrath made a foray into Pearses' territory, found a hole behind the defence, took a pass and flashed the ball into the top corner to bring Brigids right back into the game at a goal to 5 points. But I suppose you would have thought at the beginning of this game, if you said at the first water break after 21 and a half minutes that Brigids would only have got 1 score, you would probably have said, well, that's not going to happen, but it actually did. So, it's all happening here in Hyde Park, Roscommon today, and we're glad to have your company. We hope you're enjoying the coverage here by Ross GA TV. We hope you're enjoying the coverage on what's a perfect day for football. So let's hope that that bit of madness before the water break now fizzles out and that we get back to enjoying a good game of football. Meanwhile, from what I can see, the Pearses manager is outside the wire, and we resume with Niall Daly. So back to the play. Niall Daly to Hubert Darcy. Now, let's see who's going to take this game by the scruff of the neck. Larkin Daly. Back to Niall Daly. We're back to playing football. Niall Daly cuts in and with his right foot tries to put the ball inside. It drops inside. This is with the Pearse. Oh, that's kicked. That's a great score. That ball dropped into the hands of Conor Payne in a really dangerous position. I think Hubert Darcy or Niall Daly was kicking for a point. It dropped short. All of a sudden, Conor Payne had it in a really dangerous position. The initial chance went away, but he kept his head and he tapped that ball over the bar for Pearse's 6th point of the game and Conor Payne's 1st point of the match. So, back to a 3-point game. 6 points for Pearses, a goal for St. Brigids. Ball is played down along the far side. Oh, and it's mishandled there by Robbie Dolan and picked up by Conor Lohan. Now, 220 stairs. Lohan attacks now. Gives that ball back to Shane Carty. Shane and Hubert Darcy, who's come out the field now. Hubert, who seems to be playing further out, gives that ball back, and it comes here to Larkin Daly. Larkin, the youngest of the Dalys, now back into the middle to Niall Carty. Lots of experience around the middle of that field for Pearses. Now, Hubert Darcy, faced by Alan Daly. Darcy, who looks like he's prepared to take this game by the scruff of the neck. Ball outside, but that drops short, and it's well read there by Niall McInerney, who has started this game really good. He's like a guy that's been playing all along and never had a break. Back into the centre to the goalkeeper, James Merton, and Brigids build from the back. Now, Brigids, what can they do? They've scored 1 goal in this game. The ball is played out to the side to Paul McGrath. Paul, who's had a big influence in this game so far. Into the centre to Garage Cunniff. Now, Garage to Sean Trundle. Back to Paul McGrath. Brigids are looking to build from the back. Pearses again putting up that wall. But the ball is with Garage Cunniff and it comes right out this side to the long-haired Dara Sheehy. Dara, very experienced, looks up, gives it back to Garage Cunniff. They're content to play this around. Ball is dinked into Ben O'Carroll. Ben, who's found it very hard to find room, but now he has room. Turns inside and goes to give the ball, but that's well read by Shane Carty. Shane Carty takes the ball, but Ronan Daly stepped in to cut off the run of Dara Sheehy, and in old parlance, it was a third-man tackle and has given a chance to Brigids to get another point on the scoreboard. So this is Ben O'Carroll, 22 yards out, over to the right of the post, but on his favourite left foot. Ben, who was unlucky with the first one, but in fairness, it was a lot further out. With his left foot, Ben O'Carroll curls this ball in, and Ben O'Carroll curls over a beautiful point, his 1st point of the game for Ben. And now that brings the match back to a 2-point match. 6 points for Pearses, 1-1 for Brigids. So it's beginning to settle down again now to a good game of football. Meanwhile, Paul Whelan, wondering will he go long or short, he decides to go long, out the middle of the field. Under this ball is Paul McGrath, gets a hand to it, but it breaks into the hands of Conor Payne. Conor picks up the break, now looks inside. Ball goes in long, but it's well cut out, but it breaks, and now it's picked up, and here go, that's well read. Paul McGrath, absolutely excellent interception by McGrath. McGrath has been super. Now, here's Robbie Dolan. Robbie is attacking from both sides of the field. Picks it up this side to Bren O'Carroll, coming more and more into the game. Shane Cunyan. Cunyan dinks it inside for Derwin. Derwin out in front of Anthony Cunningham. Derwin turns, twists, back outside to O'Carroll. O'Carroll now on his left foot. What's he going to do? Takes on Richardson, back out to Cunyan. Cunyan dinks the ball inside. This ball now is picked up in there by Robbie Dolan. Robbie, who found space inside, but Pearses swamp him and turn it over. But Brendan Healy deems that it was a foul on Robbie Dolan. Robbie did well to win that ball. It was threaded through to him. He got in front and he picked it up. He was dispossessed by 3 Pearses players, but I think that Brendan Healy has said it's a foul. We have to wait and see. Meanwhile, Robbie is down getting attention. So we're still standing with 26 and a half minutes gone in the first half, 3.5 minutes to half time, with a score of 1-1 to 6 points. It's a relatively low scoring game for what is a fine day for playing football. And of course, it's been championship football, but it's tight, it's close. We said at the top of the commentary that this could be a close, tight game. These guys are really know each other from the last 4 or 5 years. Meanwhile, it's actually a free out to Pearses because it was deemed that Robbie touched the ball on the ground. So, Pearses attacked through Davy Murray. Davy, the captain, down this side, had a super game the last day against Boyle. Scored a great goal. Now Davy turns inside. Up, he's fouled, gets up and goes again. Davy, quick ball out here to Richardson. Mark Richardson, who has kept going on his run. Richardson looks up, dinks it in for Darcy. Darcy looks dangerous. Every time Darcy gets a ball played into him, he's been winning it. Now, Hubert Darcy called his mark, obviously. Derry Sheehy pulled the ball off him, but I'm assuming the mark is given to Hubert Darcy. He won that ball in front and called his mark. It was pulled out of his hand, so now it's actually a free. So, free for Hubert Darcy now on his left foot. Possibly his wrong side, but Emmett Kelly, no, it is more for a right-footed player, but Hubert will show he's adept in both. He's about 30 yards out with his left foot to the left of the goal. Hubert hits that ball high. Oh, that's a great score by Hubert Darcy. Lovely, very accomplished kick by Hubert, who kicks his 3rd point of the game. So Hubert has kicked 3 points in this game, including that great free to put Pearses 3 points ahead again. 7 points to 1-1. We are now 2 minutes away from half time. Ball is kicked out short, goes short to Derry Sheehy. Now, can Brigids do something before half time? Ball is with Conor Gleeson, the centre half forward. Now, ball is given in long again to Derwin. Derwin has won everything out in front today. Slips with that, it's picked up, but it's picked up by who else but Paul McGrath. Paul McGrath, who has been all over this pitch today. So Paul looks up to see what's happening, but Pearses have everything covered, so he goes back. He goes back to Shawnee Trundle, another under-20 player, county under-20 player, into Shane Cunyan, who was injured for that competition. Shane comes out wide to Eddie Nolan. Now Eddie, attacking on the right-hand side, faced by Hubert Darcy. Eddie turns back out the field, gives it back out to Cunyan. Cunyan has been playing a conductor's game. Back into the middle. That's a ball into Garage Cunniff. And Garage Cunniff from 50 yards out the field kicks a great point. A really good point for Garage Cunniff, who has shown over the years that he's more than adept at doing that. And Garage has kicked his 1st point of the game. It's St. Brigids' 2nd point of the game. And so now we're back to a 2-point game. Meanwhile, the ball is kicked out short. It's over the far side of the field with Anthony Butler. Now he gives that ball into the centre. Ball is with Niall Daly. Niall comes into the centre to Ronan Daly. Now Ronan, the centre half back, looks up. Can Pearses do something before half time? We're now got to a position where it's score for score here at the moment. Mark Richardson. Mark attacks up the left. Now dinks the ball into Paul Carey. Paul, who hasn't been in the play, but now ball breaks for Lorcan Daly. Lorcan cut out brilliantly by Paul McGrath. Lorcan was claiming that he touched on the ground, but McGrath once again showed he's an adeptness both as a defender and an attacker. Over to Robbie Dolan, another man who has covered every inch of the pitch, and it comes right back across the field here again to Niall McInerney, still inside his own 14, dinks it out to McGrath. McGrath again now, looking for the ball, gives it into the centre to Garage Cunniff, who has played really well since he was started in this game as a replacement for Kieran Sugru. Meanwhile,
5 minutes additional time.
You heard it there yourself. We have 5 minutes additional time. The 30 minutes is now up and we're moving into additional time at the end of this first half. So, Brigids now attacking. Want to see can they get back, get another score or two before half time. It's a 2-point game. 7 points to 1-2. Shane Cunyan. Cunyan has been out around the middle of the field, handled a lot of ball. Back to Garrod Cunnov, who's done the same. Garrod now. Pearses has the ball put up and they're inviting Brigids to come and get through it if they can. Meanwhile, Eddie Nolan. Eddie takes that ball and looks across the field. Alan Daly. They're looking for loose men. Pearses are pushing up on them, but Brigids are finding their men. Brian Derwin, a long way out from goal. Brian Derwin, the full forward. Brian dinks it over the top for McGrath, or for Ronan Stack. Ronan Stack now takes that ball. Ronan attacks up the left-hand side. This is a good... gives the ball inside. Ben O'Carroll. Chance here for Brigids. Out of nothing. Ben O'Carroll turns inside. Dummies. Ben O'Carroll. Goal! Goal for St. Brigids. Goal for St. Brigids. Superb goal. Scored by Ben O'Carroll, who showed composure beyond his years when getting in one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Kept his composure, held the ball, dummied, took his time, went round the goalie and the defender and rolled the ball into the net. So, Brigids have shown just why they're county champions. Out of nothing. 2 goals in this first half, out of nothing. Pearses, who have had the lion's share of the possession, now find themselves a point down coming up to half-time. Meanwhile, Davy Murray. Now Davy attacking, trying to get something back. Paul Carey. Paul, who has been out of it so far today. Paul is fouled, and it's a free to Pádraig Pearses. So, Brigids have brought themselves right back into this game. 2 goals out of absolutely nothing. First by Paul McGrath, and then by the excellent Ben O'Carroll. And Ben, who has been, I won't say has been quiet, but has found room at a premium in the first half. But when he got his chance that time and the ball was played expertly into him, Ronan Stack involved in that move, gave an expert ball inside. O'Carroll showed, as I said, composure beyond his years, took the ball and went round both the defender and the goalkeeper and took his time and rolled the ball in the end into what was an empty net. Meanwhile, substitution for St. Brigids just before half-time. County minor star Conor Hand has come on to replace Robbie Dolan, who has put up huge mileage in the first half, but I'm not sure. He may be carrying a small bit. He is carrying an injury. He's limping off the field down there. So Robbie, he was injured over the far side a few minutes ago. Meanwhile, Paul Carey. Paul level the ball up again, and Paul Carey kicks his second free of the game, his second point of the game, to make it 2-2 to 8 points. So we're with 2 minutes from the half-time whistle, and we're now back to a level ball game. So this is going to be an arm wrestle of a game. Ball is kicked out to Ronan Stack. Ronan, who has come more and more into this game. Ronan is tackled and fouled by Niall Carty. Brigids have shown that they're prepared. They've shown their composure. They've shown that the lightning start by Pearses didn't faze them. They settled it down. They dug in. They got themselves back into the game. And now they've found themselves level just coming to half-time. Meanwhile, Ronan Stack. Ronan looks to see what's available. Gives that ball to Cunyan. But Cunyan is tackled by Niall Carty. Breaks to Conor Payne. Conor now up to Lorcan Daly, who's ran into space on that right-hand corner. Lorcan Daly now, tackled by Alan Daly, but Lorcan turns in left, right, left, back out again, looking to see who's available. Gives that ball the whole way back out to Niall Carty. Niall Carty looks to see who's available, comes over to Shane Carty, his brother, Shane now, out this side to Hubert Darcy. Hubert, who's playing a lot deeper. Hubert now gives that ball outside Davy Murray, but that's well read by Niall McInerney. But in the process of reading that game, he did foul Paul Carey. Just as he was going for that ball, it was a case of Carey was in his way, so he pulled him out of the way to make the interception, spotted by Brendan Healy, and he's going to have a word with Niall McInerney. And he's saying to him, you can't do that. So he gives him a tick, and meanwhile Paul Carey has a chance to score his third point of the game, third free of the game, and to put Pearses a point ahead just coming up to half-time. I think we have a change of football. One football has been thrown out there by the ref. I think it must have been soft. So there's another one, a fresh one, as we say, thrown back out to Paul Carey. Paul on the 21 yards line has kicked 2 frees already. So he's looking to get his mark just right between the umpire and the linesman. He seems to be bringing himself out a lot wider from the goal. I thought the foul was in a good bit further than that. Davy Murray is going to the linesman arguing it, but meanwhile, Paul Carey says, okay, it doesn't matter where this is from, I'm going to have a go anyhow. So Paul Carey with his right foot, Paul kicks that ball and Paul kicks that ball over the bar. Very accomplished kick by Paul Carey for his 3rd point of the game and Pearses' 9th point of the game to put them a point ahead just on what we expect to be the blow of the half-time whistle. So 2-2 to 9 points. Paul Carey's free, putting Pearses back in front again. John Martin out the middle of the field. High, dropping. Ball comes over the heads of both Ronan Daly and Eddie Noel, or Conor Gleeson. Breaks at the back to Anthony Butler. Butler now up along to Conor Daly, to Lorcan Daly, to Paul Carey. This is better by Pearses. Lorcan Daly. Now Lorcan comes back in field to his brother Niall. Niall attacks from the middle of the field. Niall dunks the ball high inside on top of Darcy. That ball is going long, but into the hands of James Merton in there. And James calls his mark and gets the ball and clears it out. Now, Brian Derwin. Brian a long way back down the field. Whether the plan for Brian was to come out in the absence of Brian Stack, maybe it was. They're playing it short with Shane Cringan. Now, Cringan, who has played well in this game, Cringan has handled a lot of ball. Now, Cringan over the top to Dara Sheehy. And now, here's Brigids finding room again. But that ball is well covered back there and Pearses avert the danger, but handled on the ground. That ball was handled on the ground over there by, I think it might have been Conor Lohan, yeah. But they snuffed out what looked to be a dangerous attack there. Dara Sheehy had found his way into a big hole behind the Pearses midfield. The ball was played in and he looked like there was an attack foreman. Conor Lohan slid in there to make a good tackle, handled the ball on the ground in the process, but gives a free on the 50 yards line. This is to St. Brigids and this ball is going to be kicked by Shane Cringan. So Shane with number 10 on his back, looking to get a score. Shane from the 50 hits that ball. It's striking, lovely, dropping. Oh, that's a great kick by Shane Cringan. So Shane Cringan kicks his first score of the game from 50 yards out the field and brings us back to a level game again. And with that, Brendan Healy blows the half-time whistle on what has been a pretty dramatic first half. Started off with Pearses running into a 5 points lead, and then out of nothing, St. Brigids got a goal through Paul McGrath to bring them back into the game. And then over the next couple of minutes, they lost both Conor Daly from Pearses and Brian Stack for Brigids on what seemed to be 2 pretty harmless red cards, changed the course of the game. And when we got back going again, Pearses seemed to assert themselves again, but then out of nowhere, the brilliant Ben O'Carroll found space in behind, kept his composure, went round the goalkeeper and scored a goal to bring Brigids right back into it. So what has been really a ding-dong battle in the first half, we've got to half-time all square, and who's to know that this isn't the way this will finish up. It's going to be tight, it's going to be close. So meanwhile, we'll ask you to go and put that kettle on. We'll be back to you in 2 minutes with analysis from our special guest today, my colleague Kevin Egan. We'll be back with you in less than a minute, so put the kettle on and we'll see you soon. So you're all very welcome back here to Hyde Park, Roscommon, for what has been a pretty dramatic first half. I'd like to welcome my colleague and fellow commentator, Kevin Egan, a proud Offaly man, so we'd hope to get a fairly diverse view on the first half. Kevin, strange first half in a lot of ways. Pearses got off to a great start, and then we had a bit of drama, and Brigids got themselves right back into it.
Oh, strange first half, but hugely enjoyable. I mean, this is proper championship intensity between two sides that know they're capable of winning the Fahy Cup, but at the same time, you know, they have to bring their absolute A game to get there. Fair to say Brigids, for the majority of them, haven't. I mean, they've only scored 5 times. Paul McGrath has kept them alive with a couple of fantastic defensive interventions. You know, he got a couple of last-minute hands in.
He did,
to deny Pearses what would have been clear goal-scoring chances. Pearses will feel they're a lot happier with the way the game is going. You know, obviously.
But Pearses, as we know, got off to a flyer of a start. 5 points to no score. Looked like they were taking a stranglehold on the game. Looked very comfortable at the back here. And then Brigids got a goal out of absolutely nothing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just a brilliant. McGrath again, just a wonderful moment of opportunism. The gap opened up. He had a split second. No fear, no hesitation. Top corner straight away.
Super goal. Then we had what we'd call a few moments of madness, where Conor Daly. Firstly, Conor Daly, after a small, I would say, a small altercation with Paul McGrath, got a straight red, followed shortly afterwards by Brian Stack, and we spoke here earlier, looks like his red came from being the third man in. Big moments in the game.
Huge moments in the game. I mean, you take the Conor Daly red card first, and suddenly Brigids had an extra man, which you'd say, as the game goes on, that'll take a huge effect. They'll be able to use the full width of a big pitch, you know, stretch the Pearses players, particularly some of the older Pearses guys wouldn't enjoy trying to chase and plug gaps. But then that changes completely again the other way when Brian Stack has gone off the field. And obviously, I mean, these are two key players. Probably fair to say that Brian Stack is having a better year than Conor Daly is.
Probably would be, and I think that'd be fair to say. And then after that happened, Pearses then seemed to get a grip on it again, seemed to get a bit of leverage again, got themselves back into it, seemed to be building a bit of a lead. And then out of nowhere, Ben O'Carroll comes in and scores a really superb goal.
But look, he's capable of that. And that's the other thing too, it's so much harder to plug space when you are 14 on 14 or 13 outfielders on 13. And a guy like Ben O'Carroll, just that little drop of the shoulder, that little quick turn, he'll take a defender out, and you know he's going to deliver the finish.
He's going to deliver the finish. So then we find ourselves, even though it's 9 scores to 5, it's probably been closer maybe well, we know how close it is. So looking towards the second half then, what can we see happen in the second half? Are Pearses going to be able to sustain what they've been doing so far, or will Brigids eventually pick them apart?
Well, I would suspect Pearses, again, in terms of what they're doing, they'll be an awful lot happier. One of the big changes between Pearses 2021 and 2020 is to have more options off the bench, to have guys like Emmett Kelly didn't get the start today. Presuming he's fit, you'd have to imagine he'll come on, he'll be able to come in, chip in with a score or two. Pearses will feel they're in a good position. It's Brigids that need to find a little bit more in terms of improvement, wherever they're going to get that from.
And at this point, it's like with Brian Stack now gone, Robbie Dolan, who did have an influential first half, gone off injured. But Shane Cunyan, who's back from a long injury, seems to be getting more and more used to it and getting back into, and he did have a big influence on that first half.
He did. And look, that was always going to be the way. I remember talking to Benny O'Brien during the year, and he talked about how with Cunyan, he knew he wasn't going to get 100% early on. It was about getting him used to playing championship football again, and he has gradually improved and improved. I know he didn't play the first game against Oran, but he's been better and better as the year has gone on, so he will come into it. But equally, like Garrod Caniff has come off the bench and been a sub. They don't have that today because Caniff had to start. So you just would be a little bit more concerned for Brigids in that regard. Yeah. I don't know that they have the obvious change of pace. What they would probably want to see more of, I'm looking at Brian Derwin here. Brian Derwin is getting on the ball. He's just not getting the shots away.
Getting the shots. And for Pearse, of course, Hubert Darcy seems to be coming back to form, which is a big plus for them.
Hubert is huge. And it's all a tandem thing. Last year, Paul Carey wasn't really happening, so there was a lot of responsibility on Hubert. He was being double marked. Now, all of a sudden, you know, Carey is a threat, Darcy is a threat, and that makes life easier for each other. And the two of them are going really well. So there's no question, Pearses are a lot closer to Pearses 2019 than Pearses 2020.
Okay, so listen to me, we're getting ready to start second half, so I'm going to ask you now to get off that fence and call it.
if I have to call it, look, I do a little bit of poker playing in my time, you know.
You're from Offaly, you all do over there.
There you go. I'll always go for top pair over the drawn hand.
Okay.
Pearses are the ones, they have a lot more of their ducks in a row at the moment. Brigids are the ones that have to find improvement. Coming into it, I would have said that Strokestown game would bring Brigids on a long way. Right now, I would say Pearses look to be in a better position. I'm not ruling Brigids out whatsoever, but I would say Pearses are the ones, if things keep going as they are, I expect they'll have the point or two and no more than that in the finish.
Okay, well listen, there you have it from the expert, and Kevin, thanks very much for coming and joining us here at halftime. It'll be interesting to see how it goes, but thanks very much for your analysis, and we'll see if it carries through that way. So we're getting ready for the second half, so viewers will be back with you in 2 minutes. Okay, so everybody, you're very welcome back to Hyde Park, just in time for the ball thrown in for the second half, and straight away it goes to Shane Cungan. So we're straight back into this. Thanks to Kevin Egan, my colleague, for those few words at half time. We hope you're enjoying this, brought by Ross GA TV. We hope you're enjoying the fair that we have here today, and this has been, well, if nothing else, it's been dramatic. So we're a level ball game. We're starting from zero again, if you like. Pearses now. Can they start the second half like the start of the first half? They went into a 5 points to no score lead. Their full forward line has been on top here. Carey with 3 points, Darcy with 3. Now Davy Murray attacking, trying to get them off the mark early. Ball is played back out to the side, and it's with Shane Carty now coming across the field looking for an opening. That ball comes into Conor Lohan. Young Conor Lohan finds himself up the field, back to Shane Carty, back to his brother Niall. Now he comes right out this side of the field to Niall Daly. Everybody now in the Brigids half of the field, bare 4 players. Niall cutting through the middle. Niall Daly now. He's making a step and ball is given inside. Hubert Darcy. Darcy shoots. Oh, that's well blocked. Ball is picked up by Conor Payne, and Conor strikes the loose ball along the ground and kicks it over the bar. Conor Payne for his second point of the game. But for a split second there, Dara Sheehy slipped and Hubert Darcy found himself with a shot at goal, but in fairness, Sheehy got himself up off the ground again and expertly blocked that ball really well, but it broke to Conor Payne, and Conor Payne wasted no time in putting that ball over the bar. Meanwhile, kick out, well won there by Davy Murray. Now, Pearses are looking to start the second half like the start of the first. Murray taps that ball inside to Darcy. Darcy has won everything now. Conor Payne, chance here for Pearses. Conor Payne shoots, and Conor Payne puts that ball over the bar for his third point of the game. And it's fair to say there really was a goal on there. Superb move by Pearses. Ball was fed into Darcy, who's really been a handful in there for the Brigids defence. Gave it to Payne, who was flashing by him, and Payne even had Paul Carey inside him, but decided to take the shot and put it over the bar. So meanwhile, Pearses gone into a 2-point lead at the beginning of this second half. Ball is kicked out, high out the field. Cognan is under it. Cognan takes that ball, puts his hand up but doesn't get the mark, gives it to Teddy Nolan, and now Gleeson, but that's well read by Niall Daly. Pearses have started this second half well. Niall Daly now moving up the field, gives that ball to Conor Payne. Conor Payne has had a great start, and with his left foot, Conor Payne kicks the ball over the bar. Super point, 3 lightning points by Conor Payne in the first 2 minutes of this second half, and now straight away Pearses have gone 3 points ahead. This is just like the first half. This is deja vu. Great start by Pearses. Brigids looks a bit shell-shocked. Conor Payne has found space and time and has kicked 3 excellent points at the beginning of this second half to create a bit of daylight. So what can Brigids do to counteract? Ball is out the field. Cognan goes up, but it's broke by Ronan Daly. Conor Payne. Payne inside for Carey. Leaves it short, but Carey gets there. But well won by Niall McInerney, the experienced Niall McInerney. Back into Dara Sheehy. Sheehy comes across Teddy Nolan, and now Brigids starts to build from the back. So this is Shawnee Trundle. Shawnee now out the field, gives that ball to Cognan, back to Trundle. Brigids are looking to get something going. Ball is played up to Derwin. Derwin has won absolutely everything kicked in there. Anthony Butler holds him outside, but Derwin turns inside. Now gives it in. The ball ends up, it broken back with Derwin. Derwin to Ben O'Carroll. Ben O'Carroll looking for that space. Ben O'Carroll on his left foot. Ben O'Carroll, and that ball taps over the bar. Ben O'Carroll, superb point. He gets his second point of the game. Second point of the game.
Garvin Dolan replaces number 9, Eddie Nolan.
So you heard it there, Garvin Dolan, the experienced Garvin Dolan, All-Ireland Club winner Garvin Dolan has replaced Eddie Nolan. Eddie did look a bit out of sorts today, but meanwhile, going back to that last score, Ben O'Carroll has just showed once again that he just needs, this guy can turn in a post box. Smallest bit, and there's a poor kick out. Poor kick out goes straight to Garvin Dolan, who's just come on. Ben O'Carroll now. O'Carroll is beginning to assert. Running, that ball is given to Gareth Cunniff. Back to Ben O'Carroll. Ben O'Carroll coming in along the end line. What's going to happen here? O'Carroll shoots, but that ball is blocked in there. Well blocked by, I think it was Conor Lohan maybe got a block on that ball in there. Ben O'Carroll, it was probably, actually I think it was Ronan Daly. It was Ronan Daly, I think, got a block on that, but that just shows how dangerous Ben O'Carroll can be. That all stemmed from a poor kick out by Paul Whelan. The intended target slipped and it ran out the field. Garvin Dolan picked it up, and out of nothing, Ben O'Carroll ended up coming in along the end line, but Ronan Daly got back to make a good block and put it out for 45. So Shane Cognan, just before half time, kicked one of these. Now, can he do it again? Can he repeat it? Into the town end. Shane Cognan strikes that ball high, back off the post. Ball is bouncing around in there and it's picked up by Ben O'Carroll, who takes a shot. But the referee deems that there was a push in the back by Ben O'Carroll. He just shows how dangerous he is in there. Great strike by Cognan, but the ball came to Ben O'Carroll, but he fouled in the process. So Pearses now looks to build again. Ball is with Niall Daly. Niall goes up along that far side to Mark Richardson. Mark Richardson comes across the field, looking to see who's available. Tackled by Cognan, gives it to the wily Davy Murray. Davy Murray now comes right out this side to Ronan Daly. Ronan looks up to see what's available. Conor Gleeson comes in to tackle, but he gives it back to Gavin Downey. Now Gavin Downey into Anthony Butler. Anthony getting a bit of freedom from Brian Derwin, comes up the field, gives it back to Niall Daly, and he goes way out the far side to Davy Murray. So Davy Murray now looking up to see who's available. Davy on the 50. Now Davy cuts through 40 yards out. Gives it to Gavin Downey. Gavin Downey turns back in, slips, and he's tackled there, but he gets the ball back to Niall Daly. So Niall, up in the far corner, what can he do? Conductor of the orchestra most of the time. Comes back out the field, and it comes to Conor Payne. Scorer of 3 points in this half. Back to Anthony Butler. So Pearses are content to be patient, to wait it out. We're 5.5 minutes into this second half. Ball is with Ronan Daly. There's nothing in this. Hubert Darcy. Hubert now in front of Dara Sheehy. On the right-hand side, turns, twists, looks for support. Comes back out the field to Conor Payne. Conor dinks a ball inside. That's a good ball inside for Carey. Now Carey in a dangerous position. Paul Carey with his right foot. Paul Carey scoops the ball. Paul Carey kicks a great point there. Paul Carey got a small bit of freedom away from Niall McInerney. Got the ball, turned on a sixpence, and from an almost impossible angle, floats over a lovely score to put 3 points back between these teams again. So Pearses have started this second half well. Meanwhile, James Martin goes long, but that ball is taken there by Conor Lohan well in the middle of the field to Niall Carty. Now Niall out this side of the field to his brother Shane. Shane now looks up. Shane, scorer of the first point of the game. Back into the middle to Ronan Daly. He sees someone inside. That somebody is Conor Lohan. Conor Lohan is ghosted into this position. Ball is fed back out to Niall Carty, but Niall comes the whole way back out again to brother Shane. So Brigids, or Pearses, are now looking for those holes that Brigids was finding in the first half. Niall Daly goes the whole way across to Davy Murray. Davy attacks now. Comes inside the 50. Davy, and on his right foot, Davy Murray scoops the ball high, but unfortunately goes off to the left and wide for what I reckon to be only Pearses' second wide of the game so far. They've been pretty economical. They've kicked 13 points, and I think they've only scored only kicked only 2 wides. 13 points, 4 from Carey, 4 from Payne, 3 from Hubert Darcy, and a point each from Shane Carty and Conor Lohan. So meanwhile, Brendan Daly is there's a substitute been coming on, and we have Kieran Sugru is coming on to the Brigids team. Kieran, who was named at number 15 and didn't start, Kieran is coming on and he's replacing Conor Gleeson. So Kieran Sugru comes on for Conor Gleeson. So Kieran Sugru comes on, and that's the third substitution for Brigids. So meanwhile now, Brigids attack down the far side of the field. But that ball is well read and cut out by Conor Payne, who's really started this second half really well. Inside long for Darcy. Darcy now wins that ball sliding on his chest. Tackled by Ronan Stack and Dara Sheehy, and between the two of them they dispossess him. And Hubert fouls Dara Sheehy. Now Sheehy, quick ball to Cunyan, who's been really good for Brigids in the middle of the field today. He's fouled there by Lorcan Daly. Now he comes right over this side of the field to Alan Daly. They're stretching this game out wide. Alan Daly now attacks up on the stand side of the field, looking to see who's available. Gives this ball out here to Conor Hand. Conor now gives that ball into the centre to Garvin Dolan. Back to Alan Daly. Alan Daly is fouled. No, he's not fouled, but he maintains possession, retains it. Conor Hand. Now Conor, minor star from last year. Conor back out to Garvin Dolan. Garvin Dolan looks out and finds Cunyan. Cunyan is always available for that out ball. He goes right across the field now, right across to Ronan Stack. Ronan, the captain, leading from centre half back. Now Ronan goes up into the corner. This looks like it is with Kieran Sugru. Kieran turns back outside now. His first action since he came on. He's finding himself across, and Ben O'Carroll on his left foot. Ben O'Carroll from 40 yards out on his left foot, but unfortunately that ball drifts across to the right and wide for what's Brigids' 5th wide of the game. So good defensive work there by Pádraig Pearses. They pushed him into shooting from distance, and unfortunately for Ben O'Carroll, it went off to the right and wide. Meanwhile, Pearses attack up the field with Conor Payne, but Paul McGrath, who seems to have taken closer order now to Conor Payne after that lightning start, wins it, gives it to Conor Hand. Conor now turns in field, gives it to Ronan Stack. Ronan trying to lead from the back to Shawnee Trundle. Shawnee wearing number 20, up from the back. Now dinks that ball inside to Brian Derwin. Derwin wins that ball well. Turns inside, been tackled, but gets that ball away to Conor Hand. But in the process has been fouled by Conor Lohan, and Conor is being spoken to now by Brendan Healy. Conor has been marking really tight back there, and a player that plays on the edge a bit, and Conor receives a yellow card. So yellow card for Conor Lohan. But meanwhile, It's free for Brigids. So this free is on the edge of the D, if you like. It's about 26, 27 yards out, fairly straight in front of the goal, and it's at the foot of Shane Cungan. Shane, who has kicked 1 point in this game so far from 50 yards in the first half. So Shane now, a chance to put 2 points between them again. Shane Cungan with his right foot. Shane scoops that ball, chips it up and chips it over the bar for a lovely score by Shane Cungan. Shane's second point of the game. And now it's back to a 2-point game. 13 points to 2-5. So what's going to happen next? We're over 10 minutes into the second half. Pearses started the second half as they did the first and took the initiative, but slowly and surely Brigids have been working their way back into the game. Ball goes long, dropped out there by Conor Payne, picked up, and it's now with Ben O'Carroll, who's operating a long way from goal now. Ben works down that far side just under the stand into Kieran Sugru. Kieran, who looks lively since he came on, back to O'Carroll. Now Ben O'Carroll running at the goal. He's looking to see who's in support, but he goes himself. Tackled back there by Davy Murray. Back out to Shane Cungan, back to Ben O'Carroll. They're looking for the opening, out to Garvin Dolan. Garvin Dolan now turns into the middle. Tackled, but he gets it to Conor Hand. Conor Hand looks across this side of the field. Paul McGrath, a little bit quieter in the second half. McGrath to Derwin. Derwin is always available. Back to Conor Hand. Conor, faced up by Shane Carty, but turns inside, makes space for himself, gives it to Paul McGrath. Paul turns back out to Hand. Hand on his right foot. Conor Hand. Oh, that's a super point by Conor Hand. Conor Hand scores his first point of the game from his right foot. Superb young player, and this commentator would have personally worked with Conor Hand at minor level and found him to be a superb young player, and he showed every bit of it there with great composure to kick that ball over the bar. Meanwhile, Pearses goes short with the kick out. We're now back to a 1-point ball game, 13 points to 2-6, and we're now 12 minutes into this second half. Pearses now build from the middle of the field with Lorcan Daly. Lorcan, who's as busy as always around the field. Now he decides to go long, Conor Lohan, but Conor drops that ball. Conor Hand picks it up and away goes Brigids. Shane Cungan now goes long. That ball goes long to Ben O'Carroll. Now the danger man, Paul McGrath, has found space for himself. Paul McGrath with his left foot. Oh, good score, Paul McGrath. And in that move, Pearses shows just why they're county champions. Ball breaks down, and within 3 passes, the ball is moved up the field, and Paul McGrath, who has literally covered every inch of the field here in Hyde Park today, pops up to score his first point, to go with his goal, to bring the game back to a level ball game. So, what's going to happen now? Paul Wheelo as he's affectionately known, goes long. Oh, well won. Superb fetch by Shawnee Trundle. Brigids now getting on top in this game. Shane Cungan now over to the far side to Ben O'Carroll, coming more and more into the game. Ben O'Carroll attacks, looks for support, gets it outside to Cungan. Cungan shoots with the outside of his right foot, and that is a special point by Shane Cungan. Shane Cungan, his third point of the game. Super score with the outside of his right foot. And Ben O'Carroll, Shane Cungan, all these guys that has come through the ranks from minor, now showing fulfilling the promise that they've showed all up along. So now, what can Pearses do? Their great start has now been turned over. They're under pressure. Brigids have got on top. Pearses now need to start digging deep and getting some parity back in this game. Lorcan Daly. Lorcan finds himself in trouble. Plays the ball out, does extremely well back there, and gets that ball cleared eventually and takes it back again. That's great play by Lorcan Daly. Now, they attack with his brother Niall Daly. Niall now attacking up the far side, tackled by Shawnee Trundle, or was it Brian Derwin, and fouled. So, free to Pearses. And that was Niall Daly showing every bit of his experience. His brother Lorcan worked really hard down in the corner to clear that ball, got it to Niall. Niall attacked up along the far side and used all his experience to manufacture a free for himself. Now, meanwhile, Pearses have tried to take the free twice, but
Emmett Kelly will replace number 19, Conor Lohan.
So Brendan Healy is having none of it. Meanwhile, Emmett Kelly, who has started every game for Pearses this year, has come on, a huge sub for Pearses to bring on inside. The experienced Emmett Kelly, and he replaces Conor Lohan, who put in a really good shift, scoring a point for Pearses. Picked up a yellow card there a few minutes ago, whether that had any bearing on it, but Emmett Kelly a well worthwhile substitute coming on. Now, Paul Carey, he's on the 50-yard line. Pearses could actually do with a score here now. Brigids have been on top. The Pearses came out and scored 3 lightning points, but Brigids have come back with 4 of their own. Meanwhile, Carey gets under it, drops high, dropping in round the goal. Lorcan Daly goes up, ball breaks, but it's picked up back there by Ronan Stack, and Ronan burrows his way out, and he's always going to get the free in that situation, and Brigids come away. Now, Garvin Dolan in the middle of the field. Garvin feeds that ball out to Brian Derwin. Brian, who's playing very deep. Brian looks up now. He's got Alan Daly outside him, or Shane Cunyan. Shane Cunyan back to Derwin. Now, Brigids are looking to see, can they get forward? Can they push home their advantage? Garvin Dolan back out to Derwin. Derwin seeing, can he orchestrate something from out there? Now, he's coming across the field. He dinks that ball further across to Conor Hand. Conor, who has done well since he has come into this Brigids team, now gives it to Alan Daly, back to Dara Sheehy. They're showing there now, Sheehy goes inside to Ben O'Carroll. High ball for O'Carroll. Anthony O'Carroll picks it up, beats Anthony Butler. Now Ben O'Carroll with his right foot, Ben O'Carroll. And Ben O'Carroll, predominantly left footer, but he showed there that it doesn't matter what side you give this guy the ball, he's going to score from there. And with his right foot, he screws over an excellent point to put Brigids now 2 ahead. But meanwhile, wait now, there's a bit of consternation. The referee is in with the umpires. I have to say, it looked like a point from here. It hasn't gone up on the scoreboard. I'm trying to see what's happening there. Brendan Healy has come out the field. He looks like he's looking for somebody. Meanwhile, that point hasn't gone up on the scoreboard yet. He's coming out the field. He looks like he's looking for somebody. I'm not sure what. He's calling somebody to him. He is calling Emmett Kelly. Emmett Kelly, who has just come on the field for Pearses. He's calling Emmett Kelly to him now. Emmett, who I don't believe has touched the ball since he came on, and he's given Emmett Kelly a yellow card. So a yellow card for Emmett Kelly. And meanwhile, I'm just trying, Emmett Kelly has got a yellow card. Meanwhile, he's called a water break. And that last point didn't go up on the scoreboard. So the scoreboard reads 2-9 to 13 points. Oh, wait now, I think this has been changed at the moment, is it? I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye on that and see what it is. I make it 2-9 to 14 points. It should be 2-10 to 14 points, I would have thought. Oh, sorry, it has gone up. My mistake. Sorry, I'm all over the place here. So that score did go up. St. Brigids 2-9, Pádraig Pearses 13 points. So, Brigids has turned this round completely after a lightning start to the second half by Pádraig Pearses, where they scored 3 unanswered points from the excellent Conor Payne, and looked like that they were going to pull away and looked like they were going to take the end by the scruff of the neck, but then Brigids worked themselves back into it. And some super scores by, namely Ben O'Carroll, an excellent score from the far side by Shane Cunyan on the outside of his right foot. The nearly unmarkable Paul McGrath again popped up in a position up inside the Pearses cover to kick another great score. And Conor Hand kicked an excellent point off his right foot. So, 2-9 to 13 points. It's been the strangest game. Pearses have started both halves really well, but Brigids have worked themselves back into it. And the operative word been worked. They worked really hard. So, we're getting to our final quarter here. We are on time-wise.
49.
So we're 49-42. So we're looking to head back into the last 12 or 13 minutes of this game, or will be the last quarter, to see who's going to be able to get themselves over the line and into a county final. Meanwhile, we have another change made there. Number 12 has come on for... I'm looking to see who that change is there. I'll give you that in a second. There's been another change made there. So meanwhile, Pearses now, they need to get something out of this. Paul Whelan goes short to Davy Murray. Davy Murray turns. Now, Davy Murray comes out the field, and has he been fouled? Yeah, the referee has his hands up, but he allows it to go ahead. Comes to Niall Daly. Now, Niall Daly driving forward. Can Niall Daly start something here? Good tackle, but he gets through it. Now gives it into the middle to Shane Carty, but Shane overruns the ball. But the referee is giving a free, where he said there was a foul. and he's giving a free into Pádraig Pearses. So Niall Daly once again showing his leadership qualities, carrying that ball up the field, strong, powerful.
Number 23, Jack Tumulty has replaced number 12, Conor Payne.
So Jack Tumulty has come into the Pearses team, replacing Conor Payne. Conor Payne, scorer of 4 points, but he's been replaced. He's been replaced by Jack Tumulty. Meanwhile, Emmett Kelly, 55 yards out, important kick for Kelly. Kelly strikes that ball, strikes it really well. Oh, that's a super point by Emmett Kelly. Absolutely super. 55 yards out the field, and Emmett Kelly has scored his first point of the game. So he's come on the field. He got a yellow card first thing when he came on, but has kicked an absolutely superb point to make it now a 1 point ball game. Meanwhile, James Merton goes short with a free kick to Niall McInerney over the kick out, and Brendan Healy has called it. I'm assuming he wasn't far enough away from the goalkeeper. He's possibly right there. Niall McInerney seemed to be really close when he received that. So Brendan Healy is bringing the ball in, and he's going to throw this ball up. So the ball is going up between Daly and Cunyan, Niall Daly and Shane Cunyan. Daly uses all his wildness, but the ball is picked up in there by Brigids number 24. That's by Niall McInerney. McInerney back into Dara Sheehy. McInerney has played really well today for a guy that hasn't played a whole lot of football. Sheehy now out to Kieran Sugru. Kieran really deep, and Brigids are looking now to push and try and get that 2 point advantage up again. Cunyan, who's been more and more influential in this game. Cunyan is tackled by Hubert Darcy and fouled in the middle of the field. So Brigids have been able to soak up everything Pearses has been thrown at them here, and they now hold a 1 point lead. So meanwhile, we're on 52 minutes. 52 minutes, so we're into the last 8 minutes of this game. 52 minutes played. Brigids by a point. It's been really entertaining. It's been intriguing. It's been close and tight and dramatic. Meanwhile, here comes Brian Derwin. Excellent run by Derwin. Right foot drops the ball in, but drops the ball wide. I thought for a second Wheelo was going to take it out for a 50, but he knew exactly what he was doing. So a chance there for Brigids, Brian Derwin. Probably maybe should look for someone in a better shooting position. Meanwhile, Wheelo, is he going to go short or long? He dinks it out the middle to Niall Daly. Niall, who has been really good for Pearses again today. Niall tackled and fouled by Gervin Dolan, or was he fouled? He is now. So Niall Daly looking up to see what he can orchestrate. He knows that they need a point. They need to get back level. Ball goes to his brother Lorcan. Now Lorcan inside to Carey. But Carey, who is well marshalled back there by Niall McInerney and has been all day. McInerney turns inside. Now tackled by Carey. Gets that ball into Cunyan. Cunyan now right across to James Merton, and Brigids looks to build from the back again. The Brigids are protecting this 1 point lead. Merton, now he could be in bother. Merton, he's been tackled, but he dinks that ball out, but it's won there by Hubert Darcy. Now, chance here for Pearses. Darcy, ready to give it to Emmett Kelly, who wasn't ready for it. Kelly goes down and Kelly is fouled. So, Pearses have turned around the ball there out of absolutely nothing. Brigids looked to be fairly safe and sound, but James Merton got himself into a little bit of bother, gave a ball that was never, and Hubert Darcy had it read from a long way back, in fairness. So, even with Emmett Kelly, a left-footed kicker on the field, Hubert is going to kick this with his left foot. Hubert, who has kicked already today 3 good points. Chance here now to bring this game level again. We're inside the last 10 minutes of the game, so every score, every kick, every chance is now vital. Hubert Darcy from the 21 yards line at a very tight angle. Hubert lines it up, hits it, strikes it. That ball is going straight. Oh, that's a great kick by Hubert Darcy. Superb kick by Hubert Darcy. Under pressure, a levelling score, a score fit to level any match. 4th point of the game for Hubert, and we're back to a level ball game. So this is everything we had hoped for in championship football. And once again, to say hello to everybody from around the world that's watching today. We hope you're enjoying this game, brought to you courtesy of Ross GA TV. It's great to have you with us, and we hope you're enjoying it. Meanwhile, ball is kicked out long to the middle of the field. Ball breaks, picked up over there by Pearses, and the ball is now with Ronan Daly. The elegant Ronan dinks it inside for Carey. Carey, shadowed as always by McInerney, and McInerney once again wins that ball. He's been excellent today. Back inside to Alan Daly. Daly to Ronan Stack, the captain. Now, Ronan coming out the field, looking to see who he give it to McGrath. McGrath is always available. He's been superb. But McGrath, as I said, commentators curse. McGrath slips and handles the ball on the ground. And in games like this, at this stage in the game, every mistake counts. And McGrath, who has been excellent, took the ball but just slipped. Ball dropped at his feet and unfortunately touched the ball on the ground and has handed an opportunity to Pearses. So now, Hubert Darcy, he's done it already. This is now more central. Meanwhile, Pearses are getting ready to bring on number 26, Shawnee Ryan. Shawnee is on the sideline waiting to come in, and he's coming in for Paul Carey. Paul, who had a tough afternoon, been marked by the excellent Niall McInerney. So Paul has been called ashore and Shawnee Ryan has been brought into the fray. And we're waiting for this change to happen. In comes Ryan, off comes Carey. Meanwhile, back with Hubert Darcy. All eyes now on Hubert. Hubert Darcy has a great chance here to put Pearses ahead. Once again, Hubert, who scored one from a lot tighter angle earlier on. This is about 26 or 7 yards out on his left foot, a lot more favourable than the last one, which he scored with aplomb. So, can he do it again? Hubert Darcy going for his 5th point of the game. This to put Pearses 1 point ahead. Hubert on his left foot. Hubert kicks that ball, it drops in, and over the bar. Once again, Hubert Darcy shows his worth to this team. Hubert kicks his 5th point of the game.
Number 2, John
3rd from a free.
Will replace number 17, Garrod Philip.
Meanwhile, John Cunningham, who was due to start this game but didn't, has now come in for Garrett Kniff, who in fairness gave everything for the Brigids cause today. Meanwhile, Pearses now seems to have the bit under their teeth. Ball is fed inside. Now Shawnee Ryan, who's just come on the field, to Tumilty, back to Ryan. Ryan on his right foot. Ryan dinks the ball with his right foot over the bar. Super score by Shawnee Ryan. What an impact and great interplay there between the two subs. Shawnee Ryan and Jack Tumilty created the chance, and all of a sudden, out of nothing, Pearses have now gone 2 points ahead. So Brigids went 2 ahead. Pearses started the second half going 3 ahead. Brigids came back, went 2 ahead, and now Pearses have gone 2 ahead again. Meanwhile, Brigids trying to play their way out of defence. Paul McGrath again, but meanwhile, this time the free went in their favour. So we're now within the last 5 minutes of the game. We're actually in the last 2 minutes of the game. This is so exciting. I haven't been watching the clock. This has been riveting. This has been dramatic. We hope you're enjoying the entertainment. Meanwhile, Brigids now, they need to find 2 scores. They need to find any score. The ball is with Niall McInerney. Pearses have shown huge resilience and grit here in this match. I have to say, after starting well, getting pegged back twice, they've come back from the dead and now look like they're holding what could be a fairly commanding lead, but with the way this game has gone, you never know. Meanwhile, Brigids attack down the far side. Ronan Stack. Now Ronan Stack to Shawnee Trundle, find himself way up the field. Ball is with Ben O'Carroll, the dangerous Ben O'Carroll. He weaves, he comes across the field, looks for support, gets it with Kieran Sugro, surrounded by Pearses players. Back out to O'Carroll with his left foot, but this one drops short into the hands of Paul Whelan, and Pearses come out the field. Whelan gives it to Mark Richardson, leaves it short. Richardson works really hard, gets that ball out, and Pearses have done really well back there. Shawnee Ryan, scorer of the last point, turns inside. Now the ball is back with Murray. Pearses are playing a dangerous game back there, and the ball is turned over. I think it's turned over, yes, and it's picked up now. Chance here for Brigids. Here they go, shot! Oh, lightning shot. Lightning shot there by Shawnee Trundle, who found himself way up the field, and out of nothing the ball broke. Trundle carried that ball in and struck it over the bar, and that in fairness was brought on by Pearses themselves, who failed to get out of that cornerback position. So now they need to mind this ball, because one mistake and Brigids will punish you for it. So we're back to a 1 point or a 2 point game again. 2 point game. Here we go. 9 to 17 points. Now, can Pearses hold on to this lead? Ball is with Hubert Darcy. Hubert out the field, 2 points in it. Here we go. Ball is with Davy Murray. Davy back to Hubert Darcy. We're into time is almost up. We're waiting to see what the referee is going to call, what extra time he's going to call. Meanwhile, Pearses attack up the far side with Mark Richardson. Now, can they get a point to put a bit more daylight? Here comes Richardson. Soling that ball up the field. Back outside. This ball is out with Davy Murray, the experienced Davy Murray. Back to Richardson. They're holding that ball. Back inside. This is with Tumilty, I think. Jack Tumilty. 26. Shawnee Ryan, sorry. Shawnee Shawnee, who scored a point just a few minutes ago, but Shawnee puts this ball up and it drops to the left and wide. And with the way this game has been going, all those scores could be vital. Meanwhile, 2-point ball game, 2-9 to 17 points. So, Pearses has to try and hold out. Brigids has to find a way. Meanwhile, 5 minutes additional time. So, now, here we go. We're into that already. Ball is with Conor Hands. Now, Conor feeds that ball out the field, takes it back again. Conor Hand, Minors there, picks the ball, turns back outside, looks for support, comes the whole way back out to Derwin. Derwin on his right foot. Oh, but Brian Derwin drops that short. Great chance there for Brigids to pull it back to a point game, but the ball fell into the hands of Paul Whelan. Now, can Pearses make a difference? Attacking. That ball is fed to Niall Carty. Niall gets the ball back to Emmett Kelly. Emmett, who has done well since he came on. Emmett attacking up this side. Now, they'll try to hold possession. He dinks that ball, but he puts it over the head of Jack Tumulty and over the line. So a wasted ball there, Pearses, when they really probably should have tried to hold on to possession, because what this game has proved is if you leave Brigids in the game, they're going to punish you. Niall McInerney now building from the back to James Merton. So we're into probably what will be the last 3 minutes of play. Lots of time for Brigids. Ball is given inside here now, and it's with John Cunningham. John Cunningham attacking up the far side. Cunningham looking to see what's available. Gives it to Garvin Dolan. Garvin Dolan punches holes. Tackled by Davy Murray. Shepherds him out to the corner. Murray, and it's well done by Davy Murray. Garvin Dolan deemed there to have overcarried the ball. This commentator thinks it may have been a bit harsh, but at the same time, huge kudos to Davy Murray, who never shirked from the task and shepherded him the whole way out there and buys a bit of space, a bit of time for Pearses. Now, can Pearses hold on to possession? Ball is over on the far side of the field and it's fed there. It's like Lorcan Daly. Ball is given to Niall Daly. Niall Daly, who has worked so hard for this Pearses team, tackled by Ronan Stack. Niall Daly, further into the corner. This is with Shawnee Ryan. Shawnee Ryan now over in the corner, tackled by Niall McInerney. Ryan has done well since he came on. Ball is fed back out the field here now. Pearses still have possession. Runs a foul over there. Foul by Darragh Sheehy. He's saying it's a foul, but wait now. That ball is, no. I thought they called the foul over there. It's very close to the sideline. Meanwhile, just to point out, we have a good crowd here today on what was a perfect day to watch a game of football, perfect evening to watch a game of football. It's been bright, it's been dry, the pitch has been in great order, and the drama on the pitch has been very entertaining. We hope you're enjoying it. Ross GA TV. We're into the last 2 minutes of the game. Almost there, last couple of minutes. So it's all or nothing now. 2-9 to 17 points. Pearses by 2 points. This will be a huge victory for Pádraig Pearses. This will be turning over the county final result from last year. Meanwhile, what can Brigids find? Ball is dinked to Conor Hand. Conor, who scored a great point so far now. Conor Hand carrying that ball, looking for the opening. Comes to Sugru now. Chance opening up here. Sugru runs at the goal. Is there a chance here? Gives it inside to Derwin. Derwin on the right. Derwin takes the shot. Oh, Derwin. Superb block over there by Anthony Butler. Anthony Butler gave a superb on what looked like was a goal chance. Brian Derwin got the ball onto his right foot, and at full length Anthony Butler blocked that ball and saved the day for Pearses. Now, meanwhile, Pearses now attacking up this side. Can they kill this game out? Just shows you how dangerous Brigids can be. Pearses must stay alert. Brigids always dangerous, working it up. Ronan Daly now. Ronan attacking up this right hand side. 2 points in it. Ronan Daly tackled by Niall McInerney, still going. Daly, experience. Now Emmett Kelly. Emmett Kelly in space. Emmett Kelly with his left foot. Emmett Kelly over the bar. Emmett Kelly for his second point of the game, showing just how important it is to have a player of Emmett Kelly's calibre to come on the field and kick 2 points. Meanwhile, the Brigids players surrounding Brendan Healy, they're pointing to something down the far end of the field. Healy, meanwhile, is calling over Paul McGrath. I don't know what they're arguing. They're pointing to something down the field. They probably thought there must have been a foul or something. I'm not sure. Meanwhile, Brendan Healy is talking to Paul McGrath, and he gives Paul McGrath a yellow card. I'm not sure what exactly the Brigids players' gripe is, but obviously there's something. But meanwhile, play goes on. Now, Brigids, it is 2-9 to 18 points. It's a dangerous lead. It's a 3-point lead. As we've seen already how dangerous Brigids can be, Anthony Butler just saved Pearses there a few minutes ago with a full-length block on Brian Derwin. So now, Garvin Dolan. Is there a chance here for Brigids? Can there still a chance for a goal? Garvin Dolan. Garvin pushing his way towards goal and gets fouled. Now, they need to do it quickly. Pearses has everybody back. So, the ball is in the hands of Shane Cungan. Time is up. We're waiting for this final whistle to be blown. So, Shane Cungan, at this stage, realistically, you would expect he's going to drop that ball in around the goal. Pearses has literally everybody behind the ball. There is one player, Niall McInerney, and James Merton, the goalkeeper, in the whole Brigids half of the field. Everybody else is behind this ball. So this is it. All or nothing. Cungan drops the ball in, drops it in high, dropping, and dropping to the left and wide. Left and wide for what is Brigids' 8th wide of the game. So I think Pearses may have seen out this storm, but you can never be sure. Meanwhile, Pearses are going to make another substitution. Shane Mulvey is coming onto the team in place of Lorcan Daly. So Shane Mulvey has come on the field. Lorcan Daly, who has worked really hard and had a good game for Pearses today. And in fairness, all the Pearses players have been good today, but Lorcan Daly had a particularly good game. So it looks like Pearses may have rode out the storm. Ball kicked out by Wheelo. Out this side, Darcy is under. Darcy goes up, ball breaks. And it comes to the hands of Niall Carty. Now, Niall Carty. Oh, long ball inside, lovely ball for Emmett Kelly. Oh, but Paul McGrath, once again, this guy is superb. McGrath never gives up, turning the ball over. Now, here comes Brigids. Again, it's all or nothing. Conor Hand. Ball is cut out, but it's with Garvin Dolan. Now, Garvin Dolan. Tackled by Emmett Kelly. Kieran Sugru. Kieran Sugru attacking. Is there a goal in Brigids? Dara Sheehy. Dara Sheehy inside. Ball breaks, but picked up there by Niall Carty, goes down on the ball. It's ball, there's a Shemazel, and Brendan Healy says, right lads, we're going to throw that up. Niall Carty is looking after the ball down there. Brian Derwin is trying to take the ball out from under him, but Brendan Healy is saying, all right lads, easy, and he's bringing the ball in. So now, it's a free kick to Brigids, 14 yards out, in front of the goal. Brian Derwin, classic situation. He has to shoot for goal. He looks to the sideline. What am I going to do? Sideline says kick it over the bar, Brian, and Brian kicks it over the bar. Meanwhile, we're gone well over the time. So unless they know something on the sideline that we don't, Brian Derwin kicks what is actually his first point of the game, and it leaves it a 2-point ball game. A 1-point ball game. 18 points to 2-11. Sorry, the scoreboard was wrong there for a long time. I was thinking we're a 1-point ball game. Now, 1 point in it. Ball has been kicked out to the far side of the field, and that ball goes out over the line. Meanwhile, time is well up here, so we're living on borrowed time, and it's a 1-point game. Ball is fed inside. Now picked up. Ben O'Carroll. Now, is there a chance for an equaliser here? Ben O'Carroll comes in, holds. Ben with his right foot dinks it into the centre. Ball breaks, and the ball goes wide. Brian Derwin got up to punch that ball, punched it to the left and wide. And once again, apologies, because the scoreboard down the town end was reading a 3-point ball game. My figures was saying 2, but it was 2, and that last score by Brian Derwin has made it a 1-point ball game. 2-11 to 18 points. So that's why Brian Derwin kicked it over the bar, and since that there was the chance to get an equaliser. Ben O'Carroll dinked the ball across the goal when he actually probably should have had to go for a point himself. So the chances are there. Meanwhile, we still play on. We're now gone 7 minutes over the time, and the game is still going ahead. Ball has been kicked out. Paul Whelan, and that's it. It's all over. It's all over. Brendan Healy calls time on what was a dramatic semi-final. On what was a superb semi-final. Drama. It had everything. It had scores, it had great points, it had goals, it had sendings off, and it had closeness that ended up a 1-point ball game. 18 points, which was an excellent score by Pádraig Pearses. 2-11 to St. Brigids. And as I says to you again, apologies for the confusion about the score, because I was going by the scoreboard down at the town end, which showed 3 points there in the last few minutes when there was actually only 2. So Pearses really did live on their nerves for those last few minutes, and in fairness to Brigids, they never stopped carrying the match to them, and in fairness to them, created a couple of chances near the end, especially that last ball that Ben O'Carroll carried in and dinked it across for Brian Derwin, who got a fist to it but put it just wide. So, we hope you enjoyed this. This was a superb game of football. It was up and down, it was topsy-turvy. Brilliant start by Pádraig Pearses to go into a 5-point lead. Brigids got themselves back into it with a goal out of nothing. Then we had the 2 sendings off. Then Pearses asserted themselves again to go 3 points up. Then Brigids got a second goal just before half-time with Ben O'Carroll out of nothing to leave it a close game at half-time. Pearses started the second half in a whirlwind, 4 great points by Conor Payne, but then Brigids brought themselves back into it and got the next 5 points to go 2 points clear, and then Pearses took over again to get themselves 2 points clear. Brigids got back and got that point at the end to leave 1 in it, but Pearses held on for what was possibly over the course of the game a deserved victory. I'd say the stats will show that Pearses probably had a lot more possession, but it came down to the older heads. Some superb performances by Pearses, 5 points by Hubert Darcy, 4 great points by Conor Payne. Emmett Kelly came on as a sub and turned out to be a huge impact sub, scoring 2 vital points. Meanwhile, for Brigids, Ben O'Carroll scored a goal and 3 points. The excellent Shane Cunyan kicked 3 great points, and probably their best player, and I suppose, to be fair, in this commentator's view, the player of the match, Paul McGrath, the number 7 for Brigids, finished the game with a goal and a point. So there was some superb performances on both sides of what was a very, very entertaining county semi-final. So Pearses turns around the form from last year. This time last year, Brigids were victorious in the county final. This year, Pearses gets out by a point in the county semi-final and gets themselves a place in the county senior football final for 2021. In that final, they'll play the winners of Roscommon Gaels and Clonagale, who play here tomorrow. Ball throw in at 4 p.m. Again, been streamed by Roscommon TV. So we hope you'll join us for coverage of that game. And thank you very much for your attendance here today to see what was, we hope, 2 very entertaining matches, especially that senior match. So, in a final analysis, in what was a real arm wrestle of a game that swayed up and down both ways with some great performances, some great scores, lots of drama, and what was an excellent day for football. We leave you here from what is a very pleasant Hyde Park, with the victors down to our right, Pearses, delighted and I'd say very relieved to get out by a point, and Brigids to our left, disappointed that they didn't just get there in the end, but they did make a very valiant effort with what is a very young Brigids team. It's been a wonderful evening's entertainment. We hope you've enjoyed it. From everybody here at Ross GEA and from our production team, we'd like to thank you for being with us this evening, and we look forward to your company again tomorrow for both games. The intermediate semi-final thrown in at 1:30 between St. Folia's and Castlerea, followed by the second semi-final between Clonagale and Roscommon Gaels. Both those games can be bought if you just go on to Ross GA TV. Both games, they're there to be available to be bought. But for myself, Mike, from the production team, and myself, Emmett Journey, the commentator, it's been great to have your company. We hope you enjoyed the game, and we finish here in Hyde Park on a scoreline of 2-11 to 18 points. And for the 2021 championship, Pearses go through, Brigids are out. Thanks very much for your company, and until we see you again, bye for now. Thank you.